Good afternoon. Today is Tuesday, June 2nd, 2020. We are here for a town board meeting. Please stand for the pledge. Frank, can you take the lead, please?
Absolutely. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's take 1 minute moment of silence for all the COVID victims and their families and those who have become ill. Thank you.
And on that note, I have good news in that Comrade Dan, who was our Santa for many years, delivering presents to us, has been in Peconic Bay Medical Center for the last 2 months, and he came out today with the COVID. Yep.
Good.
So
Bravo.
he survived it.
Okay, well, in keeping with our tradition of having a faith-based invocation, we have with us today Jerry Halpin from the North Shore Christian Church. Thank you for being here.
Sure. Would you bow with me for a moment of prayer? God, we come before you seeking forgiveness and humility. Forgive us as a nation, as a state, as a town, and as individuals that have allowed the continual injustices to happen. Help us to see and know our wrongs, our complacency, and our inability to change, and that it's a sin against you and our fellow humans. Humble us and change our hearts, our lives, and our laws, so that no one fears losing their life or their rights based upon the color of their skin. God, help us to search our hearts and give us strength to speak truth into our own hearts so that we can rip out our racism, our bigotry, and our complacency and plant love. Teach us to detest bigotry and reject hate and allow our complacency to no longer take root. Father, we ask that you guide the leaders of our town and our local community to show this to those that they influence. Father, we ask that you not let our minds or hearts rest from this issue, but that rather allow our unrest to foster change so that future generations can be free from our wrongs. Again, Father, we seek and ask for your forgiveness and your guidance. May you bless the efforts of this meeting, and may you give our leaders wisdom. It's in your Son's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you,
Thank you, Jerry.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Thank you. And I'd like to wish our councilwoman Jody Giglio happy birthday.
Thank you.
Hope you have a great day. Happy birthday to you. Before we get started with the meeting, I would like to make a brief statement concerning COVID. Our employees are back. Again, welcome. We now have to begin opening and moving Riverhead forward. We're anticipating opening Town Hall on Monday on a limited basis. Please call before visiting. All social distancing protocols according to the DEC and the Department of Health are in place and will remain in place. Last week we entered phase 1 of reopening New York in Suffolk County. The businesses that were open on a limited basis were construction, manufacturing, curbside retail, agriculture, fishing, landscaping, tennis, drive-in movies, horticulture, hotels, and now dentists. All county leaders are advocating with the governor to move restaurants to phase 2, which we anticipate hopefully will be early next week. Phase 2 includes retail, wineries, professional services, finance, insurance, administrative support, real estate, attorneys, accountants, barbers, tattoo artists, and as the list grows, any given day the governor may move a certain business up and down the food chain or open up a phase earlier. We have created a restaurant reopening permitting effort. It went live on Friday. Applications will be accepted virtually through our website. A fire inspection is necessary. There is no cost whatsoever for the permit. Any business scheduled to open must file an online business affirmation form with the state and have a safety reopening plan in place. The plan must be visible on premise. All information concerning your type of business, the CDC protocols, the business affirmation form, everything is available online through New York Forward. Okay. And moving forward, Catherine, you wanted to make a statement on the pattern book?
I do. I'm very pleased to say that we have the second survey up for the pattern book. They took the information gathered from the first two forums and the first survey, and they fine-tuned everything and brought it into what I believe is our final survey as they near the end of their work. From there, the Urban Design Associates will move towards a pattern book, which will help steer development in our downtown areas. So it's very important, long-term, for people to let their voice be heard and weigh in on this. So that is on the website, and there's a link right on the first page. Also, all the information gathered from the other events have also been posted under quick links. And if I could, I just want to make a very short thing. I just want to talk very briefly about unity. As we all know, this has been a particularly painful time in our nation. Already facing a pandemic and economic crisis, we now face division and unrest. I think the disturbing video of George Floyd's death devastated all of us, including law enforcement. I feel strongly that as a leader, it's my job to actively listen to everyone and work toward uniting our community. This past weekend, there were 2 protests in Riverhead, and I want to commend the organizers for doing such a fine job organizing. I also want to commend our Riverhead Police Department, who did a really fine job. The participants and organizers made statements in a peaceful way, and the police helped keep them safe so that they could get their message out. And I think that, and Jody and Frank went with me to the first one, and I think they'll agree that that was peaceful. This is how we come together for the greater good. I believe it helps us in Riverhead that our police department is local, because they're our neighbors. They sit beside us at Stotsky Park, they pray with us in our churches, and they care as deeply for our community as we all do. We need to be able to walk in someone else's shoes, truly listen to each other's stories, and then do something about it. Through the darkness, there have been moments of hope, and I saw that this past Sunday in Riverhead. We've seen moments of people working together in solidarity. In the big picture, there's more that unites us than divides us. Let's continue to focus on unity and not let fear overwhelm us. Thank you for giving me that time.
Okay, and it was it was a peaceful, the 2 events, and the police department did a great job, and no one condones what happened in Minnesota. The death of the individual is not supported by law enforcement, and just know that we are in the East End, we're Riverhead strong, and it was great to see people express their opinions, how they feel, get some of it out, share it with the public in a peaceful manner, and I respect Eric Williams and all those involved with the Riverhead High School during the protests, and we move forward. You were heard loud and clear.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, I was able to go, as Catherine said, to the first one, and I was so proud to be a Riverheader. I got a chance to see not only leaders of our community, but neighbors and friends that I haven't seen in a long time come together in unity and solidarity, standing shoulder to shoulder against this horrific crime. Justin and Marilyn Winters, just to name a few, police officer Evelyn Hobson, and of course the organizer Eric Williams did a wonderful job, so I just want to give them a quick shout out.
And just since the chief just walked in, I was saying the police department did a good job, and actually I think you got out and talked to the group, and I think that's when we can make things better, when we all talk together, so thank you for that.
Yes, great job by everybody. I'm glad that it was peaceful. It was more of a vigil than it was a protest.
Yes, and I actually drove by, you saw the black car, and I beeped in support, okay, so.
I didn't hear it.
Yes, we did.
But I believe you.
Well, we were there, yep. Okay, moving forward, I'm gonna have to shut this off, not sure why I'm getting all this, give me 1 second, power off. Okay. Moving forward, can I have a first and a second to approve the town board meetings for May 5th, 2020?
So
Motion.
moved.
Second?
Bayrock,
Yes.
Kent,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Giglio,
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
The minutes are approved. I'll just go into correspondence if that's okay?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. We had a lot of correspondence here listed, from Farrell and Fritz, regarding development of Calverton Aviation and Technology Hub. Included in that were letters from Ariely Capital and Midnight Capital. That was received May 19th. Susan Kavanaugh sent a letter regarding signage at Wading River Beach, and that was received May 19th. Ronald Terreri sent a letter with objections to agreement with Launcher, and that was received on May 5th at 1:57 p.m. John McAuliffe sent in a letter with questions on CAT and the financial report and comments on the problematic Zoom system at the May 5th meeting, May 5th Town Board meeting, and that was received May 5th. John McAuliffe also sent another letter with questions regarding the site plan application of HK Ventures. Doug Rosenbrock sent a letter expressing concerns about EPCAL and the 555 deal, with concerns with the changes in the financial status of 555. Kathleen McGraw sent a letter with concerns regarding the EPCAL CAT deal. And I also have two letters that came in, one from the, that didn't make it onto the agenda. This one is from the EPCAL Watch Coalition, and that is in regard to the EPCAL property with the deal with CAT. And they're asking for the immediate termination of the contract with CAT. The other letter was from Kathleen McGraw and her concerns with the EPCAL property with regard to the CAT deal. And that's all I have under correspondence. Then I'll go into reports. Quite a few of those. I'll just skip down to the last tax receiver, because I have 4 different reports that she sent in. So the most recent was tax receiver total tax collection to date as of May 27th, $126,495,522.91. The tax receiver also submitted the April 2020 utility collection report for $148,315.54. Police Department submitted their April monthly report. Riverhead Sewer District submitted an engineering report on biosolids feasibility study. The Building Department submitted 3 reports. I don't know, do you want me to read them all, or I'll just go to the last one. Their monthly report for May was $43,019. Town Clerk monthly report for May was $9,813.25. And that's it.
Wow, where are you making so much money from?
Yeah. It's a little less than usual.
A quick note, thank you, Diane. A quick note before I ask Diane to read the resolutions. As you know, due to COVID, many meetings are being held virtually, many through Zoom. Our last meeting, there was some issues with a voice. We located the problem. We actually had a test program, a room open, and for some reason, that was open. We did answer a couple of phone calls afterwards when we went into the office. No one comes home and opens up a computer or their phone and it starts operating. Okay, and hopefully we got through whatever concerns are. We have a backup system in place. This meeting is a live stream on Channel 22. You can log into the town website through townofriverheadny.gov, and you can click on Channel 22. Zoom meeting, the information is listed also on Channel 22 to access it. And if for some reason you can't access Zoom, you don't have the app, or you're having trouble with your computer, you can dial directly through your phone, 1-929-205-6099. Before Diane reads the resolutions, do we have any comments on the resolutions specifically?
So we have a bunch of people waiting in the waiting room,
Okay.
and I'm gonna call off their names, and if they wanna comment on resolutions, we're gonna admit them into the
Okay,
room
yeah.
and unmute them, okay? We're gonna unmute them.
Okay.
All right, so,
Can I get one of those mute buttons from my house?
okay, so Jean Genie, Did she step out of the meeting room? She did.
Okay, go to the next, yep,
Okay, Denise Civiletti.
okay.
Okay, Denise, can you hear us?
I can hear you. I don't have a comment. I'm just creeping.
Okay, no. All right.
Where's your picture?
All right, no problem. Next in the room is Kathy McGraw. Did you want to comment on resolutions today? Okay, so Jean. Kathy, can you hear us?
Okay, go to the next, yep.
Okay, Denise Civiletti.
There'll be a delay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay, Denise, can
She's
you hear
good.
us?
She's,
I can hear you. I don't have a comment. I'm just creeping.
Okay, no.
good. Go.
All right, no problem.
Where'd she go?
Next in the room is Kathy McGraw. Do you want to comment on resolutions today?
I would like to comment in the public portion of the meeting.
No problem.
Okay, no problem. We'll come back to you, Kathy. Thank you.
Yes. Can you hear me?
I
Yes.
can hear you.
Okay, next is John. Did you want to comment on resolutions today, John?
I have no comment right now. John Cullen, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, next is James Sullivan. Did you want to comment on resolutions today?
Okay, next.
Hold on, take a second.
He said there's a delay, remember?
I'm sorry, I have no comment yet.
No problem. Mike Foley.
Mike?
Okay.
Okay.
I know.
Yeah, he is.
Okay, now he's on.
He's on now?
Mike, did you want to comment on resolutions?
Good afternoon. Not at this time. I'll wait until the public comments. Thank you.
Okay. Fran Sabatino, did you want to comment on resolutions?
No comment at this time. Thank you.
Okay.
Peter Scully, comments on resolutions? Peter stepped out of the meeting room. Jean. Oh, is Peter back?
Jean.
No last name, just says Jean.
Jean has no microphone behind the mute. I don't know what method she's on. She's a video.
Okay, Jean, looks like your audio is not set up. If you can hear us, you can call in and we'll try to get you in. No audio set up. Next is John McAuliffe.
Yes, I have a comment on a resolution.
Okay, go ahead, John.
Okay, this is on Resolution 261, the question of the funds transfer to EPCAL.
Okay.
The question is this related to the attorney, David Lazar, the work he's done for the town? If it is, or maybe even if it isn't, we are wondering, because there was at the last work session, there was an executive session which talked about meeting with him to discuss EPCAL. We wondered whether there was going to be some notice or even an announcement discussion now of what was discussed in the session that can be shared, that does not compromise the town, or whether you plan to inform the public of what kind of actions will follow that confidential discussion. I think those are both appropriate public ways of sharing what happens in an executive session. I also wanted to say, of course, that EPCAL Watch is very supportive. If that 20,000 is to facilitate his work, we're very much in support of it.
Okay, Bill, you asked a twofold question. One is on the budget, moving money concerning EPCAL, and we'll address the executive session thereafter. We have Bill, our CPA, coming up to the mic.
So the $20,000 was actually 2019 expenses, and it's various professional fees, legal, and engineering fees that were overspent last year by the end of the year. So when we finished closing out the books, we realized we're overspent on that in that fund, so it's going to be sent from the general fund, or funded by the general fund. in 2019.
Okay, so, and none of it is specific to Lazar, or is some of it?
Well, I don't know which bills are being covered. It's the last bills paid, obviously, but it has nothing to do with this year yet. We have funds
Okay,
in this
all
year.
right, well then, the other question, I don't know whether it stands then for the general discussion, or at some point if you can respond to it. That's-
Okay, Bill will respond. He'll research the bills and
And if I'm not mistaken, this 20,000 is from the rental fees that we're collecting from Launcher and then also from ULC Robotics?
That's the other resolutions for this year, for 2020.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
So this is from the general fund, the other one is for the 24,000 from the rental income.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Okay, concerning FCAL and the executive session, we did speak to the attorney, and Bob, would you want to expand on it?
Sure. Without getting into something that would be considered to be a waiver of the attorney-client privilege, we did have an executive session, the town board did with Mr. Laser, David Laser, Sam Yedid, and I believe Weiss was the third person who was involved in part of the discussion. That discussion took almost an hour, or maybe even a little more than an hour. The board, as with all of its counsel on this particular matter, the transaction to CAT LLC, sought advice from legal counsel. They asked questions about the current correspondence that was received from Mr. Kent on their behalf, what potential steps they could take. And again, I think the further I get into it, or the deeper I get into it, I possibly could violate that attorney-client privilege. So I'm not sure I'm at this point willing to state what the outcome was, except to say that the board did, in fact, speak with Mr. Laser for an extended period of time with respect to the steps they could take, the process that they need to follow, what they could do under the contract of sale that was made between the Community Development Agency. There was some discussion with respect to the qualified and eligible, and the town board, acting on behalf of the Community Development Agency, was given different scenarios of what they could do based upon positions they would take vis-a-vis that letter, or the letters that have come in recently.
That's very helpful, and I assume when those things come to fruition, then the public will obviously be informed of them. Just a procedural thing, one way you could handle recognizing people is use the chat room. And you don't have to go around to individuals, you just, people who have a comment now or in the general comment at the end could put a note in the chat room and you'll know who to call on.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it.
Thank
We'll
you,
take it under
John.
advisement.
Thank you.
Okay, next one in the room is DC. DC, did you want to comment on resolutions? They're unmuted.
They're unmuted.
Okay, DC,
Tell them to unmute.
they are unmuted
Where is the?
on the bottom right.
Tell them to unmute.
Yeah, they're unmuted. They are.
Oh, they are,
They
okay.
may have walked away.
Okay, next.
Okay, next
Go
is
back.
A. Mitchell,
A. Mitchell has left.
left the meeting room. Okay.
Okay.
Next is Stanley's iPad, is what it says. Stanley.
No microphone capability.
Looks like you have no microphone capability, Stanley, if you want to call in.
He just disappeared.
And you disappeared. Okay.
And he's watching us on 22 probably,
Right.
so.
Okay, I think that's it, right, guys? Okay.
But I think it's important in these Zoom meetings that we identify who's calling in for the meetings, like when they come and appear before us, we ask them for their full name and their hamlet, so that we know who's on the screen, because anybody can create a screen name. So I really like to know who I'm talking to and from what part of town they're from.
Okay, good.
I think that's great, when they start talking, just like always, they can identify themselves in
Sure.
their hamlet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll-
it's always nice to hear, I agree.
Good, I'll get that from them.
And we always practice that. Now as we move forward, we're gonna continue with those. So thanks for bringing it up, Jody.
Yeah, and I'm just happy that we were able to get people in.
Yep.
Good job, everybody.
Okay. Diane, can you read the resolution?
Sure. Resolution 233,
Authorizes notice to bidders for installation of groundwater monitoring wells, capital project number 4, Riverhead Water District, project number RDWD 1804. So moved.
Seconded.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 234.
Authorizes notice to bidders installation of water mains and appurtenances, GenDOT Retirement Community Middle Road, Riverhead Water District project number RDWD 1051. So moved.
Seconded?
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 235.
Extends bid contract for corrosion control chemical, for the town of Riverhead. So moved.
Seconded.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 236.
Extends contract for well and pump emergency services for the Riverhead Water District. So moved.
Second.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 237.
Extends bid award for removal and disposal of sludge cake and grit screen waste. So moved.
Seconded.
I got the sludge cake for my birthday.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 238.
Agrees to opt in to implementation of a e-filing for grievance and authorizes the supervisor executing a memorandum of understanding between the town of Riverhead and taxpayer representatives. So moved.
Seconded?
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 239.
Town of Riverhead accepts immediate termination of lease and deferral of outstanding license fees for Kitty Fit. So moved.
Seconded.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 240.
Town of Riverhead defers outstanding license fees for February and March of 2020 and waives payment of fees from April 2020 to reopening of Day Haven. So moved.
Second.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 241.
Authorizes the supervisor to execute an agreement with Family Service League regarding the Employee Assistance Program. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 242.
Ratifies the reinstatement of an employee. So moved.
Seconded?
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
No.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 243.
Terminates LOA of part-time police officer. So moved.
Seconded.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 244.
Changes the status of part-time police officers. So moved.
Second.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 245.
Accepts the resignation of a minibus driver. A minibus. There we go with that.
First was jokes.
Pretty good.
I think I could think of a few. No. So moved.
Seconded.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 246.
Ratifies the appointment of the senior building inspector. So moved.
Seconded?
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yeah, we lost our senior building inspector, and we have been short-staffed in the building department. We have applications that are coming in now that construction has reopened, and we need to replace this person now. It's important in order to get the revenue into the town. I vote yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 247.
And I'd like to table this resolution and explain why. It's hard to wear my mask and my glasses because they fog up. So the fire prevention inspector position doesn't include and differs from the fire marshal because it does not include the responsibilities such as hazardous materials incidents, recommending building evacuation procedures, investigating the cause of fires, or assisting with fire safety programs. The fire marshal office has some time advocated for additional personnel. A full-time fire marshal, one, versus part-time fire prevention officer doubles the amount of staffing and the ability to do more inspections and assist the building department in a more timely completion of building department permitting. The recent test was given in the eligibility, struggling with that, list established just a month ago. I did speak with Bill, and if we look at the costs are very close, and you actually get 914 more hours by hiring a fire marshal as opposed to a fire inspector. Also, the difference in salary, the fire marshal salary is $43,169 versus the combine of fire marshal recall and weekend time and a part-time employee. That comes out to be $31,850, so the difference being $11,320, and then we also will be able to bring in additional revenue. So those are just some of the starting costs, and those are the reasons that I think it's more cost. It's better financially for us to hire a fire marshal.
And I agree, an intern, a fire intern can't determine causes of fire. They can't create or enforce evacuation plans. They don't have the ability to create a fire safety plan. We are now enhancing our fire marshal's office with the outside sitting, so we need fire inspections done. And it's not productive to this town to hire an individual who's basically more of a clerical person who may go out and say, you gotta take the garbage away because it's in front of the entrance. So I definitely do not support this effort, and I agree with tabling it. We need to move forward. I have a letter before me from the fire district indicating that we are low on the amount of fire marshals that we are required to have, and we also have newspaper articles from the past indicating that our staff in Riverhead, this is from the Riverhead Local, the staff is possible to create the inspections that they need. We are short-staffed. We can't meet inspection responsibilities, and there's a serious shortcoming. A second article criticizing hiring a person who doesn't have the ability to conduct an inspection of premises. I have a third article stating firefighters argue that 3 fire marshals is inadequate for Riverhead, and right now we only have 2. We need to at least go to 3 and work from there.
And as we move forward with the application for the outside seating, that's even another reason that, we're going to need, more help in this department.
Tent inspections in particular.
Right.
So the 2 personnel committee members is Tim Hubbard and Catherine Ken, and would you please move this forward? And if as long as we get all the votes that we need?
Yes.
Did we finish voting on it?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So they came to us at work session Thursday, said they needed a part-time inspector to do the inspections for the outside seating and to review the plans, and we're telling them, no, we're not gonna get them to help, but we put the application online? Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, the list is already out, so
Yes.
I think this is something that we can move quickly on. I think Meg is aware, because we already did talk with her about it, and we're going to, Tim and I are personnel, and I think we're going to need to move this ASAP. But, I mean, if you look long-term at what's best for the town financially, and it's obviously hiring a fire marshal is better for us financially.
Understood, but I don't disagree that we need more fire marshals, but I can't see why there's not a resolution in the packet, if you feel so strongly about that, to hire a fire marshal today if we're so understaffed, number 1, and number 2, why we can't have a part-time person also.
Because we have to we have the list, and we have to do the interviews.
Okay,
And
but
it could be done pretty easy.
We're gonna move on it quickly, but.
I think we should hire this part-time person now. I think we need somebody in there right now, and I think that after you do your interviews, which could be a couple weeks away, the governors are gonna already have opened up where you can have outdoor seating, and they don't have the staffing that they need in order to keep up on these permits. Jeff, can you please come up and attest to that you are behind not only in what the fire marshals are doing, which is everything that Catherine and Yvette explained as far as reviewing plans, issuing permits, doing the revenue generating stuff, doing your inspections and everything else. I mean, is this part-time fire prevention inspector capable of reviewing plans as per the outside seating permits and then doing the inspections to make sure that those businesses, that their setup matches the plan?
Right now, at the peak of employment for the fire prevention office, we had 4.5 employees. Right now, we're down to 2. We have David Andruskevich and Craig Zidek, who's our chief fire marshal. We lost Laura Tague, who was the secretary for the fire marshals earlier this year. She passed away, unfortunately. Andrew Smith went on to another job, and Mike Harold was the part-time employee. Once the March 12th hit us, we lost him as well. So right now, we're not, even with hiring a part-time employee back or hiring full-time, we're still not at full staffing. So Craig Zidek, right now, in addition to trying to do his normal fire marshal duties, is trying to do the duties of Laura Tague and processing these applications. Craig should be out in the field. He should be reviewing plans. He shouldn't be processing paperwork and checks and application fees. We need all the employees back just to get us back to where we were before all this happened. So even before the pandemic hit us, we were down to 2 fire marshals. So,
And I think Craig said that to us in front of work session, that he needed clerical help.
we need that secretary back in the
Yeah.
worst way possible. We need the fire marshal to replace Andrew, and Mike Harold really helped out as well. Not forgetting the outdoor dining, which is an additional workload for the fire marshals. We have the annual inspections and triennials. We are so behind in that right now, just given the workload that we have and the number of fire marshals that we have. We need the number of employees even more than the 3 fire marshals that we have on paper. We really need 4 or even 5 fire marshals in the town to adequately do all the services that we're required to do.
Well, and Jeff, we're not denying any of that. We're all on board. We all know that the department needs help, and we're all willing to move on this as quickly as possible. I don't think a week or 2 is really gonna make a huge difference in this. And what's happening is you've got you're gonna be paying the fire inspector position. They won't be able to do everything. So in addition to that, you're also going to have to pay current staff recall and weekend time, the way I understand it. And we definitely need another fire marshal. It's better for us. I think we can move on this fast, right, Tim?
I agree,
Move on this.
we need a new fire marshal, full-time, and we need clerical to replace what
Yes,
we lost.
I agree on that.
Just to claw back up to the
Yeah.
top of the barrel.
We need to get
That's what
back
we
to where
need.
we were before the pandemic hit us.
And we're in agreement
Correct.
to that, Jeff.
Right, and I haven't even talked about the other departments yet.
Yeah, but this person that you're hiring was
That would get us
going-
back to where we were before the pandemic hit us. And he was a big asset in terms of answering the phone calls, answering questions about the applications. Right now, lucky me, the application is on my letterhead, and all the inquiries and applications come to my attention. So right now, I'm fielding all the questions and trying to do those duties in addition to my other duties as well.
We're all moving on this, and actually the fire, as I understand it, the fire prevention inspector can't even do much as a fire inspector. So we're hiring someone that's limited in what they can do, so let's get I agree with Tim.
Who can
Let's
do
get a
the actual
clerical person
inspection.
in, let's get the fire marshal going, and let's move on this. I think Meg's already on it, and we've already got a copy of the list, so we're gonna move on it.
The fire marshal, the fire prevention officer, he can't certify or do an actual inspection.
Right.
And so we're trying to give you what you need to move these applications. And, at the current time, we do have 2 fire marshals. I know as of yesterday, we had 3 applications for the outside sitting. It's just a visual. You have it, they get there, they confirm, and there isn't a long time, you don't have to spend a huge amount of time. You're dealing with outdoors, you're not checking HVAC systems, you're not checking air conducts, you're not checking standpipe systems, you're not looking at the support of the building, you're not looking at the code, you're looking at grass to make a determination, do they meet the distancing protocol that's set by the state? So it is a quick, I am not an expert in fire prevention, but I am aware of security protocols that are required by the state, the CDC, Department of Health, and it basically they're making sure that whatever they submit is the distancing, you're outdoors, and these are quick inspections and they could be done. Our fire marshals also have standby time that if it gets backlogged, that we can pay them to do these inspections. The board, the personnel committee for Riverhead Township have agreed, they have the list, they have the names, and they can get somebody on board this week, by I think next week. Would
Jeff?
early?
Yes.
Uh,
Jeff,
if recall, I'm sorry.
we give you a full-time fire marshal, we replace Ms. Tague. Do you still see the need for a fire prevention inspector? And what would that person do as opposed to what the third fire marshal would give you? Or what could that person do? Could that person lighten the load
Yes.
on certain things?
Yes.
In-house things?
Yes.
Do you have money in the budget for it?
I actually came to a work session earlier this year and talked about the whole department in terms of filling positions and the financial. With Karen Gluth retiring, we lost a senior building inspector position, and we haven't filled that position until this week. We lost Andrew Smith, and Laura Teague passed away. With the underfilling of those positions and the time that we have not filled those positions, we can fill the fire marshal, replace the fire marshal position, replace Laura Teague's position, and hire Mike Harold back, and hire another planner, and I outlined this earlier this year, lower than what we were at the beginning of the year that was budgeted for this year. I'm very understanding about the cost issues with the town right now, but with retirement of the higher paid employees,
Right.
we can underfill them and still sustain our staffing pre-pandemic.
Correct. Well, I would be in favor of replacing Ms. Tague, giving you the full-time fire marshal, and also appointing the full-time
Yeah.
fire
That would be my
inspector,
recommendation.
the fire prevention inspector, because I know that the fire departments have reached out to us over the past couple of years,
About
complaining and asking and saying, please, please, and I know the inspections are so far behind.
Yep.
And fire safety is so important, that I would favor doing that. If we have the money in the budget to do it, I know we're trying to cut and save money now, but
So the thinking
certain
behind
things you just can't cut on law enforcement and safety and
Right.
emergency medical, and there's certain things you just can't cut.
And that's why we went with the route before the pandemic of hiring Mike Harrow, who was the part-timer, so that we knew that we couldn't hire a fourth fire marshal this year, was not in the budget, but we
Right.
could financially keep Mike as a part-timer, send him to the required code classes so that he become a certified CEO this year, and it's $300 cost to do that. So that come next year's budget, I could put him in the budget for next year, hopefully, to have him be bumped up to a higher title to do all the other things as a fourth fire marshal. So we're trying to phase it in so not to hit the town over the head with a cost that was not budgeted for. So that's why we're trying to phase it in with Mike.
I mean, I may be willing to have discussion about that. You're talking now about hiring 3 people. My concern is, I mean, I think we ought to take a look at it. I don't like making impulsive decisions.
But-
And, I mean, we need a more, environmental planning done over there. We only have a part-time environmental planner. We have other areas of your department that I think need beefing up. And what we are getting here is we're actually getting someone at a higher grade. Overall, we're getting 917 extra hours. So, I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I agree that, emergency and safety is important, but I say that we do this first, and then if we need to come back and hire the other one, let's do that.
All right, like I said,
And
I made my presentation earlier this year, and the whole financial part of the department, the staffing of the department, was always envisioned to have the 3 fire marshals, this is before Andrew Smith left,
Yep.
to have the 3 fire marshals and Mike Harold, and a replacement for Laura Tate. Then to underfill Karen Gluth's position, because she was a very high-priced salaried employee, she's been here for a long time. We're gonna bump up the part-time environmental planner to full-time. That's still in imbalance right now because of personnel thing. But this is not hiring new people. This is replacing people that were already budgeted for this year just to get us back to where we were at the beginning of the year.
Understood.
We're not adding new people to the department. We really
Right.
need, I have 14 people. I really needed like 18 people. But right now, we only budgeted for the 14 this year. So we're trying desperately to get back from the 10 that we were down to. And during this pandemic, we were down to 10 employees and we stayed afloat, barely.
But Jeff,
Now that we're back in full construction mode, we need those 14 people back again.
this is my concern, Jeff. You're talking about adding 3 people in one area when, I mean, yeah, we need to replace Karen. We need more planners in the planning department. We've got all this growth happening. We wanna keep things moving along. We've got 5 big projects downtown.
Yeah, but this is not,
We
yes.
need another planner, we need an environmental planner, we need to beef up that department, so why would we put 3 people right away here? I say we think on that, and then we look at your department overall, that's
Again,
my,
it's,
that's what I
I
would
can
want.
just say, this is a matter of public safety. Laura Tague, God rest her soul, passed away in December. It is 6 months has passed. The letters to send out to people for their annual renewals and their triannual renewals have not even been sent out.
But we need to replace her, I'm in agreement to that.
No, that's what
absolute.
this guy is gonna do. This guy is going to send out those letters now. We have stores that have not gotten letters from us, we have not inspected, we probably have mattresses blocking exits where there could be a fire, that they don't even know that, hey, your annual inspection is up, your triannual inspection is up, because they haven't gotten a letter. They respect the reminder letter that we send out to them, telling them that we're coming in, so get ready.
Are you gonna be able to add these 3 employees and replace Karen? And, you know, give more hours to environmental planner, because we don't have enough happening, and we need more help in the planning department. Not just the fire inspectors, I mean, I'm all for safety, but you are adding a full-time fire marshal, and then we absolutely have to replace
Again,
Laura.
we're not adding, we're replacing a position that was
Replacing,
lost.
right,
So
right.
it's not, we're going from 3 to 4, we're going from 2 to 3 that was already budgeted for this year. And we're underfilling that position at a lower salary than what we'll.
Okay, so let's, where do we stand? Let's just take a vote on this, see where we're going, and then we can discuss it further.
I'd be happy to
Within us,
talk
and
to-
possibly at work session again
On
on
Thursday, I'd be happy
Thursday.
to.
We need to move forward with this meeting.
I just wanna say also that standby time for 2 fire marshals, they have standby time, but they also have a life. And by keeping them on 24 hours a day for 7 days a week, and then alternating to the other fire marshal for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and then still asking them to do their daily requirements for the town, to keep the town going, is, they're on duty. They can't go to a wedding and have
Bill.
a drink if they're on standby.
Bill, they don't, if we hire the full-time fire marshal, it was my understanding that we won't have to do all of that standby and part
You'd
and
have a third
overtime.
person, they rotate every 3 weeks instead
Right.
of every 2 weeks.
What, Bill? Can you come to the mic? Thank you.
Included in saving that standby salary over the weekend would have this person on a weekend schedule. So he'd be working Saturday, he or she'd be working Saturday, Sunday.
Fire
and
marshal, you mean?
Yes, and 3 other days during the week.
Right.
That coverage over the weekend would be what was be saving that time.
And how much in savings would that be?
Last year it was $16,000.
So hiring a
cost us
fire
between-
marshal for making sure that he covers the weekend, we save $16,000?
Between recall and weekend overtime,
Okay.
yes.
So that would save on the, yeah, that would
That's
save on
based
the
on
overtime.
2019.
Recall time.
Okay.
I think we all agree that we need another fire marshal and maybe 2, but this is a good start.
Okay, so can we vote?
Do we have to do the vote on the table, Diane?
Well, you made a motion to table. I don't think anybody seconded that. So is that, Bob, is that like,
That's the way I remember it, yes.
can we just start over? Is that just a redo? Is that, it didn't go far?
Well, there's a motion, but
A
there
motion to
there wasn't a
table.
second, so
Seconded.
that it didn't go through.
You got
It's
the full
not a second to
resolution.
table, we
Right,
can now
moving
proceed,
forward.
we can now proceed to move the resolution, if that's what we wanna do.
Okay. So we'll throw it back to Councilman,
Oh, I actually read it.
Councilwoman Kent. 247.
Appoints a part-time fire prevention inspector, so moved.
Seconded.
Bayrock,
Yes.
Kent,
I vote no, I don't wanna do this at this time, I wanna start with the fire marshal and the, clerical person, and I still am looking to add other people in the planning department.
Hubbard.
Having a chief fire marshal in the office handling paperwork is absurd to me. It's a horrible waste of money. Appointing a part-time fire prevention inspector would certainly take the load off the chief fire marshal, and I think it's a wise and fiscally wise decision to do it this way, so I vote yes.
Giglio.
In the matter of public safety, yes.
Aguirre.
At one point, I had seen that it was a fire intern. Where did that come from, Jeff? This is not a fire intern? This is definitely a fire safety officer?
Fire prevention.
Prevention safety officer? Okay, given the circumstances, I'll vote yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 248.
Ratifies the appointment of seasonal beach personnel to the Recreation Department. So moved.
Second.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes, if we ever get to use them.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 249.
Amends Resolution 2020-215. So moved.
I'll second.
Bayrock.
Sorry, Jody.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 250.
I'll let you do this one, Jodes.
It's okay. Authorizes amendment number 3 of agreement with U.S. Department of the Interior, U.S. Geological Survey. So moved.
Seconded?
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 251.
4285 Middle Country Road lateral main extension, number 82051. So moved.
Seconded.
Doesn't say what it does there.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Looks like
Yes.
something's missing.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 252.
Authorizes the execution of contract with Seed Clam Administrator. So moved.
Second.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
In light of the stormwater presentation we had last Thursday at the work session regarding the possibility of opening up meeting East Creek, I believe, for clamming, this is a real important step, and this has been done for years, and it has kept our clams in abundance, so to speak. I am definitely in favor of this, yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
I look forward to clamming. Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 253.
Authorizes the supervisor to execute a license agreement with Arrows Cultured Oyster Company to allow the installation of floating upweller systems in East Creek. So moved.
Seconded.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Ditto for the oysters with the clams, yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Great, yes, absolutely.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 254.
Authorizes the supervisor execution of certification and point of contact information sheet with the Department of Navy regarding loaned aircraft. So moved.
Seconded?
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 255.
Authorizes Lawrence M. Levy, DBA On-Site Productions, to provide additional cable cast production services, non-pro-tunc. So moved.
Seconded.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 256.
Reclassifies action and grants approval of the special permit application known as 1535 Route 58 LLC on a parcel located at 1535 Old Country Road, Riverhead, New York, also identified on the Suffolk County Tax Map number 600-101-2-12.6.
Before this is seconded, can I open it up for discussion?
Yes.
Okay. So why does this say that they are going to do a 3,280 square foot car wash and a restaurant? I thought they were abandoning the restaurant and that nobody would be going inside the building.
That is correct.
That is correct, and I move to table this, resolution.
Thank you.
Time out, time out.
I think it was that, they originally were gonna do that and then it changed.
That, Jody, that's a whereas. They were originally proposing that, now it's just only the car wash. That's a whereas. They eliminated that. It's only for the car wash.
Okay, so,
So why does
the
it
real
say
plan
that?
is under resolved
in
then?
there.
Right, you go to the third resolve.
Yes, okay.
That describes what's being approved.
Okay.
Correct.
Correct.
Yep, you're right.
That looks
Right.
right, yep.
The original application is that first whereas, Jody, and then.
got it. No, I get it.
Yep.
I just,
Okay. That being the case, then there is no restaurant
There is no
component
restaurant,
on this,
there's
then
no
we
office,
should
there's
take
no
a vote.
retail, it's just the car wash.
Okay, you satisfied, everyone? Take a
Yes.
vote? Okay, move forward with it. It's-
I'm not gonna reread it, but I moved it.
Okay. Okay, so you moved it, take the vote, Diane.
Okay, so who,
that was confusing.
so,
though.
Frank?
Yeah, it is,
Why?
it was,
Second?
that's why I was,
Was it seconded?
Not yet.
Okay.
That would be you,
That's you,
Ms. Kent.
Catherine.
No, I second Tim, but I'll say it. Seconded.
Okay. Bayrock,
Buckley?
Yes.
Kent,
Yes.
Hubbard,
I had spoken out against this previously, but, you know, all the work has been done. The SECRA was completed. I am comfortable with the SECRA report and how it came out. And at the end of the day, it comes down to a property owner's right to develop his or her property, and that's what this is, so I vote yes.
Giglio,
Yeah, I agree with everything that Tim said, and I also agree with the fact that it is a different type of car wash and scenario than any other car wash that we have on Route 58 with the plan for it. So I think it's unique, and I will vote yes.
Aguirre,
I went by the property the other day, and I wasn't happy with the traffic study, even though there was one, and I'm gonna vote no.
okay, resolution adopted. Resolution 257,
Authorizes the Building and Planning Administrator to approve temporary suspension of enforcement of outdoor dining permit fee requirements and zoning district limitations set forth in Chapter 253 of Town Code of the Town of Riverhead until December 30th, 2020, subject to specified conditions. So moved.
Seconded.
Bayrock,
Yes.
Kent,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yeah, I would like to commend Councilwoman Giglio. She spearheaded this weeks ago in talking with the chamber and the bid and numerous restaurant owners she has good connections with them. And this is something that certainly is needed for the economy, locally, nationwide, but in particular our town, that's what we're here about. And to get this moving forward and allow them without charging them application fees and allow these people to start making some money again, this is absolutely great. And I commend also the supervisor, you guys put this together. It worked out, and I think we are kind of leading the way on this, and I definitely vote yes.
Giglio,
Yes, to help the businesses in town who have suffered greatly from this pandemic and to help them make up the capacity on the seating once they get restricted to 50% on the inside to, have the seating on the outside. And that was my letter, April 25th, to the bid and to the chamber and the town board after a conversation with the supervisor and the chief the day before, saying that this is what we should think about doing. And I'm glad it came to fruition because and from what the great job that the supervisor's doing in her conversations with the county executive and the governor, the fact that outdoor seating may get moved into phase 2, and it could happen as soon as next week, which is another reason why it's so important to get somebody in the fire marshal's office processing this paperwork so that they can have their tables and chairs ready and inspected and ready to open when the governor gives the thumbs up, rather than falling behind and them falling behind frustrated for another week. So absolutely yes.
Aguirre,
Yes, and this is a model that most towns in Suffolk County are using. This has been discussed way when we started closing restaurants, and there's great ideas. And yes, Jody did address this back in April, and she's gonna be charged with providing tenting
And seating was in the
and
email.
seating.
Yeah.
Okay, good. And I vote definitely yes.
resolution adopted. Resolution 258.
Authorizes town clerk to publish and post public notice to consider a local law to amend Chapter 301 entitled Zoning and Land Development of the Riverhead Town Code, helicopters, seaplanes, amphibious aircraft prohibited. So moved.
Seconded?
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
I'm glad to move forward with this. This is something that other towns have done in our area. We did have the public hearing before, and then we amended this, and moving forward with this. I vote yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 259.
Launcher Inc. License Agreement Budget Adjustment. So moved.
Seconded.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes, this will bring some funding to, into town.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 260.
ULC Robotics, Inc., License Agreement Budget Adjustment. So moved.
Seconded, and Diane, if you could just change the caption, because it's ULC, not UCL. So amend it to
Yep, I'll
read
fi-
ULC Robotics.
Yep, I will fix that.
Thank you. And I will second it.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yeah, again, Councilwoman Giglio was speaking with these people and got them to agree to come out here, and it's a good start for things up at EPCAL, and we're very proud to have them, so yes.
Giglio.
And today is my birthday, and it's their first day on the property, so they're out there doing the research and development on the drone that could potentially be the inspection device that they use for this offshore wind, and getting ready for the future with unmanned aerial vehicles. So it's a great innovation, and it's high-tech jobs for our kids. I'm happy that we didn't lose them to another place, and that they're landing at EPCAL. So yes.
Aguirre.
Absolutely, yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 261.
2019 funds transferred to EPCAL. So moved.
Seconded?
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 262.
Pays the bills, so moved.
Seconded.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted.
Okay, thank you, Diane.
You're
At this
welcome.
moment, we will open up the meeting for public comments.
Okay. So we're gonna go back to our list from before. We have Kathy McGraw for public comments. Is she with us still?
Yes, yes,
Okay, hi Kathy, go ahead.
thank you.
But for
My
the
name
record,
is
if you could just
Kath-
state your name, I'm sorry to interrupt you. If you could just state your name and the hamlet, and we'll ask you to limit your comments to 5 minutes, please.
Sure. My name is Kathleen McGraw.
Right?
My hamlet is Riverhead, 24 North Walk, and I'm speaking on behalf of EPCAL Watch, highlighting the primary points in the letter. Hold on, I'm gonna let you see me. Highlighting the primary points in the letter just submitted to the supervisor by EPCAL Watch. We urge you to terminate the contract with CAT at EPCAL, as is your right under Section 9 of the sales agreement. Failure to do so could arguably subject you to judicial intervention for failure to follow general municipal law, urban renewal law, and the Riverhead Town Code. Why, you ask, could that possibly happen? For two reasons. CAT has failed to define the project, and it has provided no ongoing proof of financial ability. So first, CAT has failed to define the project it plans to pursue at EPCAL. As you know, the town has been unable to submit an approved 8-lot subdivision to Suffolk County, primarily because of CAT's failure to define its development plan. The closest CAT has come is a, quote, conceptual plan that it admits it does not actually intend to implement. It is beyond your authority to dispose of this taxpayer asset with no clear, specific plan from the buyer that demonstrates it will meet the public purpose as an urban renewal project. In a recent letter, Mr. Kent states the CAT has sought the assistance of Ariely Capital, an unvetted new entity. He says Ariely is working on, quote, a robust business development program for EPCAL. Who knows what that may mean? And in fact, it sounds suspiciously like a prohibited assignment under Article 22 of the sales contract. Second, CAT has failed to provide evidence of its financial ability to complete the project as required by Article 13 of the contract. You've requested updated financials. CAT describes its response as a courtesy, when in fact you are entitled to such information under Article 23 of the contract as well. But what have you received so far? Nothing but a letter of interest for a construction loan from Midnight Capital Partners. This letter tells you absolutely nothing about CAT's financial status. In fact, it specifically states that before a loan would be made, Midnight would have to have evidence of CAT's financial capability. Midnight is in the same position you are right now. No clue as to CAT's current financial viability. So the Midnight letter aside, the only information you have right now consists of multiple media reports suggesting that CAT's majority partner, 555, is in financial difficulty. It is in arrears on mortgage payments on its $1.4 billion loan from Mall of America, and it's seeking taxpayer relief for help with those payments. And there are reports of financial problems for 555's long-stalled American Dream in the Meadowlands. Unless you forget, the 25% partner in CAT, Daniel Preston's Illuminati, absconded from EPCAL, and Preston's operations reportedly went up in flames with the explosion of one of its aircraft batteries at its building in Little Falls, New York. In sum, at this time, you have the golden opportunity to walk from this contract. Now, as a lawyer, I can understand you may be concerned that if you do so, the Germaisians will sue the town. But the advantages of terminating the contract, as specifically allowed for in the sales contract, so far outweigh the fear and viability of such a lawsuit that public duty demands you terminate. If you terminate, you will extricate the town from a future entwined with the Germaisians. These are people who pounced on an incredible deal for valuable land that Daniel Preston finagled out of former supervisor Sean Walter. Once they got the deal, they kicked Preston to the curb. Then they sent as a representative to the town a man they knew had a civil judgment against him for forging a mortgage document. They also offered the town what some might call a bribe of $2.5 million for a park if the vote on the Q&E question was unanimous. And they enticed a board member into attending a secret meeting during the Q&E process, after which she flipped her vote from no to yes. They now dangle $500,000 under your noses to induce you not to terminate. Are these really folks Riverhead wants to partner with into the future? If you terminate now, you will also be able to save the 1,000 environmentally sensitive acres at EPCAL for the residents of Riverhead. And you'll be able to seek true market value for the developable land that is the biggest asset Riverhead has. Finally, if you don't take this opportunity to terminate as allowed for in the contract, when CAT has so obviously failed to define the development project and has failed to demonstrate its ongoing financial ability to complete the development under urban renewal law, I am afraid you may be exposing yourselves to potential liability for failure to comply with general municipal law, urban renewal law, and the town code. The time is right to terminate this contract, and we urge you to do so now. Thank you very much for your time.
And I would like to respond.
Yes, one second, Jody?
Yeah.
Our primary focus is to complete the subdivision for the economic development, whether the purchaser is CAT or not. We are waiting, response from the DEC. If we, our subdivision is denied, we can't move forward with the contract. And, Jody, would you, provide some insight, please, on this issue?
As far as the subdivision map?
Well,
So-
as far as, the contract in general.
Yeah, we can't sell the property until we finish the subdivision, which there was a lack in time period from when the planning board approved it to when it got sent over to the DEC and to the health department. There was also a lapse of time on several occasions where, and that's about as far as I'm gonna get into it. But we have a subdivision map that's pending right now, and we don't have anything for sale until we complete the subdivision. So and I respect that you're an attorney. I don't respect your slander in saying that I'm having secret meetings and, when it wasn't a secret meeting, first of all. But I'll get into that in a minute. We have outside counsel that we hired, that the EPCAL Watch Group said, hire outside counsel and have them look at the contract. They have looked at the contract, they have advised us the direction that we are supposed to be going. They are our attorneys, and we take advice from them. That's number one.
I completely understand that, Councilwoman Giglio. You should be taking advice from them, and I hope they're advising you to walk while you can.
Okay, when it comes to secret meetings that I flipped my vote, that couldn't be further from the truth. They asked me to go to a meeting, I went to a meeting, I was against the project all along because Illuminati was a majority partner and he was on the board of directors and he was the one that would have say as to how this property got built out. At the meeting, they explained to me that he was not going to be the majority, that they were going to knock him off the board of directors and he was going to be a minority partner. I came to the press and the town board right after that meeting and told them that I had a meeting and that they were taking Illuminati off the board of directors and they were taking him away from being a decision maker. They had an affidavit that was signed and notarized by him to that fact that was sent to the press and to the town board the next day. There was no secret meeting.
The
I
town
was
didn't
doing
know
my due
before you
diligence.
went.
Whether you like the fact that I went to the meeting or not is your opinion. I'm stating the facts. I was doing my due diligence, and I'm not going to have anybody say that I flipped my vote after a secret meeting, because that couldn't be further from the truth. I flipped my vote after they said Illuminati is off the board of directors and he is not a decision maker as to how this property gets built. And that was signed by a sworn affidavit by Daniel Preston of Illuminati that was furnished the next day and sent out to the media and the board. There was no secret.
Well, I would just disagree in that you went to that meeting without telling anyone in the town.
Yeah, we have meetings every day. The
Well,
supervisor
not
had a meeting
during-
with the
not
EPCAL,
dur-
the supervisor had a meeting with the EPCAL Watch Group that is against this project, and we didn't know that she was having that meeting. We have meetings with people that have projects in the town of Riverhead every day.
You
And
say
people
her
that-
meeting was wrong.
And people
You
that
say
wanna
her
rent the
meeting-
runways, you know what? There was no secret meeting, there was no, I was doing my due diligence, period. You have continually, over the last 2 years, you were not satisfied with the decision of the ethics board, even though it was fully vetted after 5 appearances from them, providing them with information and providing them with emails from our attorneys saying that we should meet with them. Which I did.
I still disagree with the ethics board.
Okay,
I think what
we
you did
move
was
on.
unethical, and I think it was secret. But
Okay,
we'll always
Councilwoman,
disagree on this. Thank you.
Councilwoman
Okay.
Kent, we need to, move forward. Some of
yeah.
this stuff can be handled behind the scenes, and any board member want to chime in, give them the opportunity. Go ahead.
Hi Kathy. I just
Hi,
wanted
how are
to.
you?
Go ahead. I just wanted to mention, I just wanted to discuss that I am still not satisfied with the financial documents that we've received. I don't, they're not actually financial documents even. At the Q&E, Kat did say that because they're a private company, they didn't wanna put all their information out there, but they would be willing, they said this at the Q&E, but that they would be willing to have us hire, private accountants that would look at their finances, and that would be something that I would want to do. I think that would, be very helpful, and that's something that I wanted to bring up.
And I think everyone here sitting before, our residents all agree that we will vet them if we get to the end of the contract and we're ready to close and we get DEC approval, that will be a process. We want the best interest of the entire town, and all of us want those 1,050 acres, preserved.
I would just contact,
Oh,
but they are
hold on a
hiding
second.
behind.
Hold
They
on.
will-
This is the public comment section. We've allowed you to make, beyond the 5-minute, time period. We have a meeting, to continue. There are other people waiting. We
That's
are
fine.
open. I met with you 2 weeks ago. We shared a lot of these concerns. And I can't have somebody moving on, with, one issue. And it is an important issue by all means. And we're all very concerned, and I believe that we're all on top. I'm speaking for the board, and I can tell you, we met with, David, what's his name, Laser. And, okay, and that was, actually your recommendation, all right? And what we decide as a board, we're gonna do it collectively, and we all have the best interests of this town, including the 1,050 acres. So I need to move my meeting forward. I'm gonna allow the other 2 board members, if they'd like to make a statement, and we're going to the next caller. Tim, do
I
you have?
appreciate the time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.
Briefly, we are looking for more and better and more accurate financials from CAT 555. But at the end of the day, if this ever gets to closing, if they can't prove to us at closing, then the closing may not happen. That's what the bottom line is. They have to prove on the day of closing to us that they have the funds to do this. If they don't, then there's no closing.
And that's a stipulation that's in the contract that gets triggered when you get to the closing state. Right now, we're too premature. We need to see what happens with the DEC, what designation they give us. We are particularly looking for subdivision, whether it's CAT who becomes the purchaser, or IBM, or American Airlines, whoever it is. We need to get the subdivision completed, and we have counsel. We actually have 2 counsels. We have Frank Eisler, and we have Attorney Laser, and this is a very difficult process, a very difficult, a very complex purchase, obviously, when we have the interests of everyone in Riverhead. And Frank, would you want to make a statement?
Yeah, just shortly, I was glad to be on that conference call with David Laser, and felt reassured by the fact that at closing or before closing, that we would be able to finance an accounting firm to go in and do more diligent inspection of their financials. So I feel that that's the process that's in front of us, and I look forward to it.
If you look at the sections of the contract that I cited to you, you are not required to wait
We
till
already
closing.
said we gave you your opportunity, we gave you enough time.
I mean,
I've met with you personally for an hour and a half on a meeting. We have other callers of interest. We express to you where each and every one of us, where we feel, how we feel about this, and I need to move forward. Who's the next caller?
Okay, so the next person up.
Just 1 second. Kathy, I do want to hear your last point, if you could send that email to me.
Absolutely.
And, I'm gonna reiterate again, for the finances, I'm not, looking at some document that is sent to me. I want accountants that will do this work for us and report to us do a full investigation of CAT's finances and get back to us.
And that was my recommendation, was that we take the 500,000, that we use a portion of that money, and prior to closing, once we have something to sell, that prior to closing, we hire the accounting firm and go in and look at their financials.
Well, that wasn't necessarily your recommendation. That came up with all of us, but you did ask, I know that you, talked about financing it, so that's accurate.
Okay, so we're gonna move on. So, John is next, no last name, so John, we'll unmute you.
Actually, he needs to say his name and address, because that's what
Okay,
And
John.
we'll ask you to just state
let's
your
see.
name and your hamlet, please.
John,
John Cullen, Northfield Beach.
Night, John.
Hi, just want to sorry, I'm getting double tone here. Just want to say thank you very much on the 5-0. I'm also with the Riverhead Noise Task Force dealing with the helicopters and seaplanes. And I look forward to this resolution moving on forward and passing. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, John.
Thank
Okay,
you for
next.
your work for the town, John.
Next is James Sullivan. You still with us, James? Bear with us, we're gonna unmute you. Did he leave the meeting room? Okay, so James left. Next is Mike Foley. Mike, you still
Mike.
with us?
How are you?
Yes, good afternoon. Mike Foley for Sound Park Heights, representing Reeves Park. Is Chief Hagemiller on this call?
No, he's in actually at another, a Zoom conference at the moment with the, county executive.
Okay, Yvette, I'm sorry to hear that because I would have loved to have had his involvement in this call. I'm speaking about the parking issues that we're having in the parking lots in all 4 of our Riverhead beaches, as well as driving on that beach. It's no secret to anybody here that the North Shore in Eastern Long Island has been just inundated with out-of-towners. And we all have that problem. And it seems that the problem is starting to be dealt with, but not in a way that I feel should be dealt with. And I just want to bring up this past weekend. We had a large showing of Riverhead Police and traffic enforcement in our parking lot, and had some new equipment that was beach-worthy down there as well. And I'm about a minute away from the beach, and I walked down there just to observe what was going on. And there were a few people that were being questioned. I wouldn't call it detained, but they were being questioned about being set up on the beach. But as that was happening, there was a 4-wheel drive coming off the beach, and it had no permit at all.
What time was that?
A police officer told them to park, and I observed him going over there, engaging in that driver, took his driver's license, spent about 3 minutes, and then handed him back his license and did not write a ticket. So I approached him before the 4x4 left the parking space and said, "Why aren't you writing him a ticket?" And the officer responded, "Well, he's coming off the beach just a little bit late." And I said, "He doesn't belong on the beach at all. He doesn't have a permit." And then the officer said, "Well, I'm using officer discretion." So at that point, I turned around and walked to the car, realizing that certainly police officers have the right to discretion in all matters of enforcement. But I wanted to ask Chief Hagemiller his opinion on enforcing a zero-tolerance policy on all 4 of our beaches, where every car that is parked in the lot without a sticker is given a $100 ticket. Every truck that is on our beach without a sticker is given a $500 ticket, so that this money can not only be a deterrent to the people coming on there, but it's one of the few areas, I think, in enforcement of that we could actually possibly end up with a positive cash flow. I think it's of critical importance right now because the town of Southold has now instituted a zero-tolerance policy. Their Cedar Beach was just absolutely overwhelmed with out-of-town people. And now they're writing between 75 and 100 tickets a week. And I'm sure that that will deter those people from returning to Cedar Beach. But where are they going to go? They're going to go to the place of least resistance. I'm not just worried about the traffic and the density that causes our community. Our community is an older community, like myself, senior citizens that have additional hazards to the virus. I've got COPD, and I'm not saying it's a death sentence, but it's certainly not a walk in the park if I end up with this virus. So having these people come onto our property, come onto our beach, travel our neighborhoods, there are no facilities on the beach, so when they're down there for 10, 12 hours, you know that they're defecating and they're urinating on our beach. They're bringing dogs down. Reeves Park in decades has never been closed to a bacterial pollution environment. I fear that just the human waste that's going on right now and the pollution that it's hitting us with is going to pose a health hazard to us. So, Yvette, I know you've got a history in law enforcement. Do you have any objections to a zero tolerance policy in parking, so that when a police officer or a traffic enforcement officer goes down and they don't have a sticker that they see, that they write a ticket, and when they're on the beach, that they're given those $500 tickets.
Well, I certainly don't. I'll be something that, I would speak to the police chief, and, he has to do the enforcement. I don't have the ability to write summonses, and thank God that was 2 careers ago. I did take notes. I understand, and I hear you loud and clear. This was an issue throughout the entire North Fork, South Fork, Riverhead, and many beaches. Apparently, we had a lot of people, driving east. The mayor of New York City went on television and stated our beaches are closed. Long Island has wonderful beaches, and people listen. We were in touch with you a number of days ago, and you did express some concerns on certain issues. We did correct them. There is no driving on the beaches in Riverhead from 10 at night to 6 p.m. And we do have law enforcement or traffic control monitoring the people who are parking. And as things escalate, we'll enhance the enforcement part of it. The beaches are not closed, as a lot of people are led to believe. They are closed to the public, except Riverhead residents, and we will maintain that protocol probably for another few weeks until we open up the beaches, and we'll get back to you, Mike, on that, okay? We'll follow up on it.
Just a quick follow-up on that event. In the last 48 hours, we've had 2 overnight 4x4s parked in Reeves Park with fishing. Neither one of those people had stickers. There was no police presence. Last night, there was a 4x4 down there that had brought a boat down onto the beach. One of our Reeves Park residents told them that they're writing $500 tickets, and the guy flipped them the bird and put the boats in the water. So it's good to have traffic enforcement there on weekends, but we really do need traffic enforcement to make rounds in the morning and at night and write tickets on all 4 of our beach parking lots. And we do need that new fancy equipment that the Riverhead Police Department has on our beaches a couple of times a day making these passes. If they do that, this equipment will be paid for. According to Chief Hagermiller at the meeting that we discussed this at the Civic Roundtable event last week, the chief said that all of the $100 and $500 tickets written by the town of Riverhead are revenue derived for the town of Riverhead. I think we not only are missing a deterrent, but we're missing a revenue stream. And I'll end it with this. I do want to thank Tim and Jody, both of whom gave us help, gave us a lending ear, forwarded emails to Chief Hagermiller that I'm sure was a critical component in getting a presence on our beach. And finally, I want to thank the board for implementing the SAFE program during this pandemic environment. It has enabled residents like myself to register with the town of Riverhead, interface with a wonderful town hall employee, Donna, who has never missed a beat, has always scheduled us when we asked her to, and to Gayla Fresh, who has been absolutely wonderful to people when taking their orders and getting an accurate delivery every day. Thank you very much. Out.
Thank you, Mike.
And by the way, Donna has done a great job with that program.
Yes, she
Yes, actually, when we planted the seed, actually, she's my legislative aide in my office, and she took off with it, and a week into the program, she said to me, I'm helping the elderly. I feel so great. And unfortunately, she is still here. Next week, we will be turning over the program to the senior center. It's more appropriate, and some of these individuals also get Meals on Wheels, and we have to bring her back to the office to do her job as my legislative aide. But you're going to still continue to get the same people. We've gotten a lot of compliments on the people. There's 2 individuals delivering the food, and she's gotten a lot of compliments. And thank you. Mike, I will relate that to her.
Thank you, and please give serious consideration to zero tolerance. We really need it. Thank you very much.
Okay, so time is up. Okay, that's well beyond that. Let's try to get it, whoever's waiting.
Okay,
You wanna
next is Fran Sabatino. Fran, you still with us? No, left the room?
Who's M&M?
They entered later, we have a couple ahead.
Okay. Moving forward?
Can people who go away, can they come back in? Maybe they
Yes,
will
they
serve
have to
us.
be back.
They can, but
It's just like
he'll tell us
hanging
if
out.
they're in the queue waiting to get in.
Yeah.
Okay, next, John McAuliffe.
Thanks again for an opportunity to join you.
3:38.
I live in the Rolling Woods, sometimes called Roanoke Landing section of Riverhead. And I would note that the beach at the end of Roanoke also has received some attention, but needs probably more regular attention. So when you go to Reeves Park, you should also come up to the beach that goes east from Roanoke. I also wanted to say, totally in a personal capacity, my appreciation for the remarks at the beginning and the two events that were held in Riverhead about the terrible events in Minneapolis. I began my life politically in the civil rights movement. I was in Mississippi in the summer of '64, and while tremendous changes have happened in our society in those 50-plus years, we still have serious issues, and it's very good to see that people in Riverhead are engaged with them. One hopes that all of the candidates for Congress and all of the candidates for the state legislature take due note of this popular concern. So now I want to put back on my EPCAL watch hat. Two things out of the earlier discussion. One is that I think there needs to be some clarification about when the financial capability assessment will be made, because I was hearing several different things in the way board members responded with, maybe by a misstatement, Mr. Hubbard, it sounded like it was just at the last minute that would be made, but we would hope that it would be made earlier on, that should be an immediate step taken by the board. The only reason we're doing an 8-lot subdivision is for the Germaisians, so that if you decide to end the contract, you don't have to proceed with the 8-lot. The other thing I wanted to say is, while there's a certain sense of taking the $500,000 and using part of it to pay for a serious independent financial audit of the Germaisians and their associated colleagues, my reading of that letter is that if you take the money, you essentially are granting their premise and waiving your right to decide to end the contract. So I think that might be talked about with the attorney. The final thing I wanted to say is just procedural. We were very much appreciative of the meeting with the supervisor in this constricted world of Zoom, and that led to the letter which was delivered today. We hope that the actual letter will go into the minutes and go on to the town board, the EPCAL page. If anyone wants to see it, if they just write to epcalwatch@gmail.com, epcalwatch@gmail.com, we'll send it to them. Kathy hit on a couple of the real main points of the letter, but there are other things in it. So I think that's really what it. Oh, I know one other thing, because it came up. One of the lessons that we drew from the ethics board experience was that the town ethics code has a big hole in it. The state ethics code says that it was not appropriate to meet with one of the parties in essentially a hearing on a private basis. That is not in the town ethics board ethics statement, and we think some kind of language like that should be incorporated into the town ethics code so this problem never comes up again. I'm not speaking to motivations or consequences, but I am speaking simply to the fact that procedurally it does seem inappropriate for a private meeting to take place in the middle of a public hearing process. So at any rate, we hope that if anyone wants to see the full letter, we're happy to provide it at epcalwatch@gmail.com, or, and that it will go in full into the minutes of this meeting. Thanks
It will,
very much.
it is part of the minutes.
And I would just like to say that the Public Authorities Act is the jurisdiction that you had asked for 2 years to get put into the town code, and it was not put into the town code, it was never even put up for a vote by the town board. So it's an entirely different jurisdiction from the state versus the town. It was written in the paper exactly that we were not subject to the Public Authorities Act. So the fact that you're not satisfied with the ethics board, I don't know why, for 2 years of the past administration, that wasn't put up for a vote, but it wasn't, to change the ethics code. So she must not have agreed either.
I don't think we ever actually raised that question,
Oh,
Jody.
yes, you
People-
did. Oh, yes,
No,
you did.
people talked about it, but I don't think anyone ever said, let's have a revision of the ethics
Oh,
code.
yes, you
And-
did, and a member from your group actually wrote to the Attorney General for New York State and said, we want you to weigh in on this, and they never even responded.
Yeah, I'm not aware of what that
Well,
was.
I am.
Okay,
Okay, 5 minutes up, moving forward.
all right, so moving forward, we have 2 more, it looks like, in the waiting room. One is just identified there as iPhone. John, you want to unmute him? Is that Ron?
That's Ron. Is he?
Yep.
That's Ron.
Yep. Hey, Ron.
Thanks.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon. I have a couple of
You
questions.
could just state your name and hamlet for the record?
Yes, Ron Hariri, Aquabog. As Judge McGraw has previously noted, the spokesman for CAT, the former Director of Business Development for 555, was the subject of a $1.2 million judgment for fraud in the state of New Jersey, affirmed by the Appellate Division. My question is, what steps have you taken to verify that the original submissions made by CAT were accurate? And do you feel a bit concerned about whether or not 555's potential liabilities were not properly presented to the town in light of reports of its delinquency on a $1.4 billion mortgage?
Are you done?
Are you talking about the financial, Ron?
Yes, I am. You had an individual, the subject of a $1.2 million fraud judgment in the state of New Jersey. He was the point person for the presentation during the eligible and qualified hearing. What steps has the board, its members, its advisors, its lawyers, its accountants taken to verify whether the financial presentation during the original eligible and qualified hearing were accurate, particularly in view of continued reports of financial distress on the part of 555, aside from the collapse of Illuminati?
Well, I can tell you, Ron, that I've never been satisfied with the financial information that we received, and that's why I would like to move forward with hiring accountants to look and report to us on that, prior to the last day.
So the fact is, Catherine, you know of no effort to verify whether anything in that original presentation was ever confirmed to be accurate. Is that true? Anyone else on the board want to chime in?
We had pages and pages of documents that our attorneys that we hired did investigative work on 555 and presented to each board member.
Are you satisfied with that information now? You know?
At that time, I was.
Is delinquent,
Given the current economic,
in a $1.4 billion mortgage, sir?
He said what he said. Let Tim answer now. I mean, he's had his side.
Mr. Herrera, what I said was, at that time, I was satisfied. Right now is a different time. Right now, the economics are very different than they were 2 years ago. So we are requesting more.
So my question, with all due respect, Mr. Hubbard, is you have an individual adjudicated to be a fraud, okay?
That's an
Submitted-
employee of 555. We
step
don't
have
vet
you
every
taken to
employee
look
of
back?
555.
Okay.
We don't do that. Nobody would do that.
Hold on,
Ron,
hold
hang on,
on.
I'm speaking,
Ron,
thank you.
let him finish so we can move
The
this
gentleman
forward.
that you keep throwing under the bus was an employee of 555. We don't vet the employees of 555, nor would we ever do that. We vet the company as a whole, and that's what we did, and we were satisfied with the response that we got from our attorneys. Now you're talking about money that they're falling under with the mall that they borrowed against for the Jersey project. Again, yes, I'm concerned about it, but you have to understand 555 is you know this as well as I do, they're a multifaceted corporation, and they have branches of that corporation that have plenty of money, have completed projects, and are currently completing projects, and this is part of what they're doing with EPCAL, the branch that they have with 555
What
Real Estate, I
information,
believe it is.
what information have you reviewed, sir?
In regards to what, Ron?
Their financial statements.
They provided financial statements during the Q&E. We also had investigations done by the attorneys handling the case during the Q&E. We were given that information.
Were those investigations made public in any way?
Okay, five minutes is up.
Some were and some were not.
Okay, the 5 minutes is up. Ron, we also need to move forward. This, if we get to closing.
I have another
One second.
question. It's
Let
a
me
matter of
finish.
order.
It's my meeting, Ron. Let
It's
me
a matter
finish.
of order.
Let me finish.
It's a matter
Okay,
of order,
hold on, and let me move this meeting forward, okay?
It's a matter of order, Madam Supervisor.
The CAT will be fully vetted. By the time
I
we get to
appreciate
closing,
that.
we need to
But
get
I'm
to-
really asking now
I
is,
am not.
have you
I am
fully
not
vetted-
going to go back
have
and
you
forth.
fully vetted
Okay, next
members
caller,
of the
please.
town
Yes,
board?
next caller.
Next
And
caller,
what steps
please.
would you take?
Okay,
Go ahead.
all right.
Next caller, please. Thank you, Ron. Thank you for your comment. We gotta go.
Next in the meeting room is MM.
Okay, who's MM?
We'll unmute them and then they can identify themselves.
Sure.
Not to be confused with Eminem
That's what I thought.
Or,
or
like my birthday cake
M&Ms.
that's in waiting for me. M&Ms
What kind?
spelled with E.
What kind?
Carol made it. She made a lemon cake.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So everybody could have some after the meeting.
MM, if you can hear us, we need you to unmute yourself.
Okay, moving forward.
Okay, is that it, guys? Anybody else in the meeting room?
We lost a few.
Denise Civiletti is still with us. Denise, did you want to make a comment? You
She's
just-
stalking us.
Oh, she'll be making a
Said she
comment
was
in the
freaking.
newspaper.
Well, I know,
right,
but,
please?
you know, I don't
Still
want
here, I'm listening intently.
to, okay, I don't want to
Better
exclude.
be.
Okay,
Okay, so hearing no other comments, everybody be safe. And, can I have a first and a second to close this meeting, please?
So moved.
Just before we do that, I just wanted to thank Tommy Lissandro for his years of service with the town.
Yes.
Tommy resigned, we voted on that today
That's
in a
right.
resolution packet. Tommy worked with the seniors for like 8.5 years. He loved his job there, he loved working with the seniors, and I just want to wish Tommy a great future and off in his retirement.
And
Thank you.
best of luck, sign man.
Yes.
And it was his birthday over the weekend.
That's
Oh, was
right.
it?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was.
Happy birthday
Happy
to him as
belated.
well.
Happy birthday and good luck.
Again, be safe, everyone. Thank you.